Okay, hi everybody. I've got Krista Malin here from the Russellville School District. She is the principal at London Elementary, and she is going to be talking us through how she has been able to take the slides from the Science of Reading Assessor Training and turn those into PD opportunities for her staff, as well as use that as a way to really get them ready for proficiency. So Krista, I'll let you go ahead and start and talk to us about what you've done.
Okay, so before I went to the Science of Reading Assessor Training, I had seen the SMART card, and it was honestly, it was very overwhelming to me, even as an administrator, not knowing exactly what to look for. And I started thinking, what would my teachers think when they saw this card? Because that's one thing I never want to lose as a principal, is to always keep that teacher mindset. And so my wheels were already turning before I went to the assessor training of how can I make this not as scary to teachers. And as sitting through that assessor training, I felt like I knew exactly what to assess my teachers on after we had walked through every bullet of the SMART card. And afterwards, I thought, why not do that same thing for the teachers? It would be good PD. It would explain exactly what I would be looking for, and it would put everyone on the same page. And I know that every time I hear anything about the science of reading, even if I've heard it before, it's just good to hear again. I feel like I internalize more every time I hear it. So I decided to take each component of that SMART card and break it into PD for my teachers. And I took directly from the Science of Reading Assessor Training, and I looked at the slides and tweaked them for a teacher instead of a principal assessing. And so what I'm going to show you is the part that I did for the Science of Reading phonics section. We use phonics first, and so I wanted my teachers to think about the resources that they already had and were already using, and to see that they really do have a lot of things in place, even though they don't realize it. And then there are some little modifications that we need to make to better align. And so I wanted them to see that SMART card in correlation with our phonics first. So I took the Science of Reading and really just followed along. Again, if you've been through the assessor training, it's what it is. I also took my notes that I took during the assessor training and added them in. So I showed them the SMART card, and then I zoomed in on just that phonics piece. And I took each component just the way that we did in our assessor training and broke down each component into teaching moments. So I'm just going to scroll through those slides. It's exactly what the assessor training was. We had great conversations. I left the scenarios in there. And so what I did on the scenarios for the assessor training, you know, it is geared towards principals and how we would coach teachers. And we were also told to look for the good, the positives, and things to work on. So that's how I posed it to teachers. I did divide up, and I created some kindergarten scenarios and first grade scenarios. And so here's an example of that. So just like in the Science of Reading, I broke down the different scenarios here. I used the letter G for kindergarten in this first scenario. You can see Mr. Smith introduces the letter G, writes the words goat, gate, gentle, and gem on the board, continues this lesson by having students write words they know with the same letter by typing out the sounds. And then I wanted them to really think about the videos that they chose. So I kept that part of, in the video, it says "ga" instead of "g." And so how that looked differently for first and second grade is, I know that they're doing vowel teams. And so I used that same scenario, but I changed it so that it was more of a first and second grade focus than a kindergarten focus. And so you can see the scenarios the same, but I chose words that had OA, threw in a little rule or a little cutesy rhyme in there. And we worked through those different scenarios. So in my handouts, I also had my cheat sheet underneath with my teacher notes. And so the teachers read those after doing that section in the PowerPoint. We looked at the scenario, just like in the Assessor Training. What are some good things that do align to the science of reading? What are some things that we need to change in that? So after each component, then I had a slide. After each little bullet point, of the smart card, then I had a slide that said, what components of phonics first align to the science of reading? And so we looked at that bullet, thinking about what we had just learned, and then we discussed that. Of course, I had thought through that, knowing what I wanted them to get out of it, and then I could guide those conversations. So I did that for each of the components. There's the syllables, and then again, what components of phonics first align to the science of reading. And so by the end of this, teachers said they felt good about it. They felt very comfortable, that they are ready for me to come in and look at the phonics part as it relates to the science of reading. I already see differences in the classroom, just a deeper level of understanding of phonics and the conversations that I'm having with teachers and that I'm seeing in the classroom because of this. So what I ended up doing actually is sharing my idea with my other elementary colleagues at Russellville. And as a district PD, we led this with all of our K-1-2 teachers in phonics. My plan moving forward is to do this same format with each of the components. And I'm going to do them some in team meetings. I'm going to do the foundations smart card, I don't know it completely. Yeah, that fundamental expectations. That first section will be a part of my August PD. I think that is good teaching for everyone, regardless of if they're going to be proficient or have to demonstrate proficiency or not. And so everyone, counselors, specialists, interventionists, classroom teachers, will all go through this same format with the fundamental expectations. And so another reason I started with the phonics, by the way, is because that's one of the biggest sections, and I felt like if they felt that was doable, it would make everything else easier and understandable for them. So great feedback, and I think it will result in calmer nerves of teachers. That, you know, our teachers always get nervous when thinking about assessment, and so I think we're going to see a lot of great things from this.
All right, thank you, Krista. So if you are looking for this resource, Krista has very graciously shared with us the slideshow that she's done and the scenarios. And so those will be posted on the Archboard Science of Reading Support for Principals. So if you just go to the Archboard website and then look for Archboard administrators, you will get to our website where you can see that Science of Reading page. And if you're doing things like this and you would not be opposed to sharing that with us, please let us know so that we can get this out, so that we can support all of our administrators who are working on this.